It's on Saturday mornings from 8 until noon through the 28th of this month. And the 12th annual Wine Around the Squares this Saturday. And this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Plus, Paws Pet Fest is this Saturday from 10 until 2. Paws, 285 John Rice Boulevard, 10 until 2 this Saturday. And thanks to help from Petco, the adoptions are free as well. Also next week on Wednesday, October 25th, it's the Fall Festival for the whole community at Murfreesboro First Presbyterian Church. Everything is free. Games, carnival rides, inflatables, even free popcorn, free hot dogs, free nachos, drinks, free popsicles. It's all free. The annual Fall Festival at First Presbyterian Church. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Hi, this is Bob Cornell, pastor of Covenant Church right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. The answer that you've been looking for is found in Jesus and what he accomplished at the cross. You see, Jesus changes lives from the inside out. We would love for you to join us at Covenant Church, located at 1124 Brinkley Ave right here in Murfreesboro. We have services Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. and Tuesdays at 7 p.m. You can learn more about us at our Cornell Ministries YouTube channel. We want you to grow in Christ at Covenant Church.
Here's a question. What do you want from your electric co-op?
Fast response if the power goes out.
An app that keeps me informed. Tips to lower my monthly bill.
Communication on things that matter to me.
Done, 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 done.
I want to know everything.
Everything? Well, young lady, let me show you the MyMTE app. Energy Service Life. That's Middle Tennessee Electric. We're here to get done what matters most to you. Learn more at mte.com.
Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric, MTE's internet company, United Communications. Well, they, in August, announced a multi-year expansion. They've created 1,400 route miles of new fiber optic lines capable of delivering multi-gig internet service. You can find out more at mte.com/internet. United Communications, fast, local, fiber. And just as fast out there on the flag football field, calling fouls on everybody, James Price of the Better Business Bureau. And on weekends at New Vision. How are you?
Good. How you doing today, Brian?
I'm good. Are your knees holding out for that?
Yeah. Everything's good. It's working out fine. Hey, talking about United Communications here, one of your sponsors, they were a Torch Award winner last year for BBB.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so little spark for them here really quick. So, hey, but today what we want to talk about is how to find a reliable and trustworthy general contractor. And, of course, we're probably going to be talking about going to BBB overall, because, that's just where you find them. But, the biggest thing about general contractors is you want to get a relationship going. And so before I even get into BBB, if you have built a relationship with somebody over the years and you know that they're a reliable general contractor, you went to school with them, or family or something like that, you really know these people, then, that might be a good place to start. You could still check them out on BBB to make sure that, they're taking care of everybody.
Sure.
But relationship in business is one of the key factors overall. People, once they start using somebody, they find it hard to switch unless something goes wrong.
And then they're upset, and then they maybe make another bad choice, sometimes too,
right.
In that process.
Yeah, things creep up on people, and, where they have been using somebody for a long time, and they don't realize that maybe they've been going down this path that is not so good. But overall, there's a lot of good businesses out there. And, most businesses, they really want to take care of their customers. They really want to build a reputation and a brand. It's the scammers and the people who are trying to take advantage of people who keep us working.
Right.
Yeah. So So when you're hiring, for a home improvement job or a general contractor or whatever it is, first thing you need to know is make sure, are you getting the right fit of the contractor? What's their specialty? There's some contractors out there where they'll do certain things, they won't do certain things. And some would prefer not to do certain things, although they could, or they'll only include them with jobs they're already doing. And I tell you, over the last year or two, I've had businesses, hey, are you adding any services to what you're doing? And they're saying, no, but I'm taking a few away.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to do this or this anymore.
Kind of downsizing, or maybe more streamlining what they do.
Right.
Yeah.
Get better at what you do. It can be more profitable for them. I mean, you think about a restaurant. The reason why restaurants, they have certain menus because it's streamlined and it's cheaper for them to do a whole lot of meals of the same kind and tend to have 50 different things.
The bigger the menu, the more things that they have to prepare, and the more likely it is that maybe you just have 50 mediocre things than 20 great things.
Yeah, and you might have to have different equipment too. So the first thing to do is, do your research. Once you've properly planned your project, and make sure you're planning your project, what kind of professional do you need? So the first thing you do is go to BBB's directory. And, a business can do this today too while we're sitting here. If you're a business and you're sitting by your computer, open up a web page and go to bbb.org. Type in what you do near Murfreesboro and see if you come up. See where you come up. See who your competition is. For the consumers out there, and we're seeing a lot more of this overall, by the way, is that we see that businesses look up other businesses. It's not just consumer looking for businesses anymore. It's businesses looking for businesses because there's these general contractors. They need subcontractors. They don't want to get involved with a subcontractor who's been taking advantage of people. So the general contractors are now looking for their sources on BBB, and we see double-digit increases on this across the board over the last couple of years, year after year. So those are really building. So go to bbb.org, look in the directory, and see who comes up for the project that you want to do. This is a free resource. It doesn't cost you anything. Businesses, they can have a free profile on there. So if a business goes to bbb.org and they can't find their business anywhere, they need to email me, jprice@gobbb.org, and just say, hey, James, I need a form to get listed on BBB. My business isn't listed. Not just for general contractors, but any business. And then I send you a quick form, you fill it out. 24 hours later, you have a profile up and running. At least that helps some people who are doing research not have to do, they're not even listed on BBB.
Right.
Okay. So it's free to consumers and free to businesses to get a profile on there. And consumers, they should never have to pay for that kind of service overall anyway. A focus on local is really what you want to do. And that's why when you get in there, you can type in, hey, I need a general contractor near Murfreesboro, or I need one near Nashville or whatever. And then you can filter those results. And then once you open up those businesses, you can see what some of them do. You can read all the reviews. You can read if the company has any complaints. We normally have a whole lot less complaints from BBB accredited businesses than we do non-accredited businesses. And mainly because those accredited businesses are saying, hey, we're going to uphold these standards. You're going to be able to trust us. We're going to advertise honestly. We're going to be transparent. We're going to take care of issues that come up. Those are the things a business has to do in order to be on board with BBB.
And just because there's a complaint doesn't mean that there's not maybe a resolution to those complaints that are also on there too. You can see.
Oh, absolutely. You see both sides.
Yeah.
And unlike Google,
No.
people can write a review about any business on Google. The business can't do anything about it. But with
you may see the business reply to it, but it's just like, is it just them replying to reply? You don't really know. But on BBB, you feel like you see both sides of that issue is what from my experience seeing the reviews on there.
Right. And we don't even post the first review or complaint until we get the business's response. So unlike some of the other platforms, the complaint gets out there, and when the business gets around to, responding, now BBB won't wait forever. We'll give the business a few days. Hey, if you want to make a response, do it quickly because we're going to post this. So now would be a good time.
Right.
So the other thing too is that BBB businesses are all vetted to ethical business standards. That's what we were just talking about a minute ago. We do background checks to make sure that these companies don't have excessive tax liens. They're paying their bills. They're paying their vendors and that kind of stuff. That all comes out in the wash when we do the reviews. And the last thing you want is some contractor to come out and do some kind of project for you, and they didn't pay their vendor for the equipment, and all. That person comes in and say, well, we're going to put a lien on your house because these are our supplies and we haven't been paid for them yet. So, another good reason to go to BBB and look for a business that's accredited. Review previous work. You can see companies who have websites. They'll put pictures and stuff of what they're doing on there. And then, of course, the reviews overall. We've just talked about, consumers leaving reviews, and I would highly encourage people to leave a review when they have work done and that kind of thing, just to make sure that you're sharing with what goes on. By the way, we talked before about Scam Tracker on BBB, which is another whole separate thing, where if you know that you're getting scammed, go to Scam Tracker and either put a scam in if you've been scammed, or you can read about scams in your neighborhood. You can also ask the business to provide you with photos or videos or projects, get references. It's good if they can tell you of a local place that they've done work at so that you can go see it. Some of these contractors, they do whole neighborhoods at a time. So they can say, yeah, just drive through this neighborhood. I've done most of these houses here on this or that, driveways, patios, that kind of stuff. And so asking for references is a good thing overall too. And as a consumer, if you've had work done, a business might say, hey, can I use you as a reference in the future? Can I use a photo of, what I've done for you here and that kind of thing? So look for that.
And maybe even ask if there are references that you could talk to.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So then we talked about, getting multiple quotes, and, multiple quotes, everybody's always heard, get 3 quotes. And so we really want to talk about that for a minute, because your lowest bid may not necessarily be your best job. And so if somebody comes in with a high bid, what you should do is say, this seems a little out of line with what the other bids I'm getting is. Can you explain to me why your bid is higher? And it may get into the type of materials they're using. Some companies will use lower grade material on products than others. And I keep going back to that hurricane that happened down in Florida a couple of years ago, where it basically decimated all these houses along the beach, and there was one standing. And they went and talked to this guy who owned this house, and he says, why do you think your house is still standing? He says, well, when I built the house, I was asking the contractors about what kind of materials they were using, and they gave me some options to use good, better, best. And I said, I'm just going to go with the best. I'm going to go with the best materials and that kind of stuff. Hurricane comes through. That was the only house standing on the beach. So when you look at the high cost, what you want to do is you kind of weigh out, is this cost worth it? And then talk about things about timelines, supply chains. If people are giving you bids, next thing you're going to get it in writing, but you need to get it in writing when they're going to complete the job. And something I learned a couple of years ago when I was talking to somebody, said, we contracted to get a house built, and they told us it was going to take a year. 6 months later, they haven't even broken ground yet. Well, if you go back and you look at the contract, they have a year from when they break ground.
Ew.
And so you have to really dig into those contracts to know what's the timeline is. Tell me when you're going to get started and when you're going to get finished. Mm-hmm. And so, and all the legal stuff points to saying, yeah, they don't have to do anything. They have to finish a year within the time they put a shovel in the dirt.
But they could be 2 years before they put a shovel in the dirt, huh?
Exactly.
Wow.
And so
that's something interesting.
I mean, this guy learned it the hard way, but he's like, no, and he'd already given his deposit, and it wasn't a refundable deposit, and the whole 9 yards. So when you're, look at your bids, look at the details of the contract, be very specific about start and end dates and the expectations of performance in between, and what they're going to have, and then what kind of materials they're going to use. It may be that your highest cost bid may be the best deal for you. It may be done quicker and that kind of stuff. A low cost bid, they may bid low, and then they may go search for your materials, and they may not have to start for 6 months or a year. So dig in. And then, of course, you can go to bbb.org and you can see a write-up on this, and you can see a contract agreement checklist where you get into, business context, target project timeline, detailed scope of work. Download the contract agreement checklist to kind of look at it. Verify your contractor's license and insurance that make sure your company has it. Verify with BBB, we do that for you. So if a general contractor's
if they're accredited, they've got that.
Right.
Yeah.
If they let it lapse, then we won't. If you need help, go to BBB.
Good stuff. We learned a lot here about tips on finding a reliable and trustworthy general contractor. And just a reminder that if you missed any of the information that we talked to here today, you can go back and listen to the podcast. And it's at WGNSradio.com under Rutherford Issues, or you can go back to wherever you listen into audio, whether it's Spotify or iHeartMedia, Google Podcast, all of those places, and check us out on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter as well. James, appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Brian.
And that's going to do it here for Rutherford Issues from News Radio, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna. Thanks for joining us.
Hello friends, Lenny Farmer with Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home. More than I can count, we have taken care of families who were totally caught off guard with the passing of a loved one. There are so many details to tie up, it really can be overwhelming. Again, more than I can count are the comments from families who have pre-planned and pre-funded